First things first, how are you?
Brilliant, mate. Yeah. How are
Good.
you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Cool.
So, we have a lot to talk about, I suppose. But where I want to start with is last album. Now, having made the new one, how do you look back at the previous one?
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Good album for us. Yeah.
good touring off it and stuff, and everything that's happened since has been good. So
Yeah. And we're still proud of it and stuff. Yeah. So
songs are still stand up as well
Yeah.
now to back then. So
yeah. So we have good memories of the whole cycle, pretty much.
Well, I was going to ask, experiencing that entire cycle, releasing the album, touring it for a couple of years and everything. At the end of that cycle, what is the mentality of the band? Where are you? Where's your mind at that moment?
I don't know. I guess it's like pretty much thinking, what are we going to do next? Well, we had a bit of time off after the last album, so we kind of spent like 3 or 4 months just at home, doing nothing, and then we started to think about this one.
Was that a break that you needed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
They were good.
We hadn't done that between. I don't think it would ever really happen like that, had it?
No.
Really. So, yeah, it was good to have just a few months to really.
not think about anything.
Yeah,
to do with it.
and reset. Yeah.
Yeah, what did you do? Did you kind of stay away from music altogether, or how did you kind of fill that time?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Just like
Just chilled out at
did
home.
stuff at home.
Did the washing up. Took the dog for a walk. Just kind of normal shit, really. I've got a kid as well, so I spent time with my kid. Yeah.
And so then, at what point does it start itching again?
I don't know. It just happened naturally. I guess it just happens naturally.
I suppose after a bit as well, we're so used to doing it that you get like a bit
Bored.
just bored at home,
Yeah.
and you need like purpose. Whereas when we're at home, the only purpose is to like just sit there.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
so like you kind of miss having your thing, if you know what I mean, to do. So it's quite. To be fair, it's quite exciting at first, isn't it? When you
Yeah, it is at
start
first.
writing,
Yeah. And then within about 5 minutes, you think, oh,
why this again?
shit again.
So, what was the starting point then? What was it, a song, or how do you kind of?
That's what you said. Not this shit. Right, yeah.
Compose myself. Sorry, carry on.
No,
with the
no,
question.
what is the starting point then? Once you kind of reconvene, where do you start?
I mean, physically, we start on a computer.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much just. That's the hardest thing, is getting started, to be honest, figuring out where to begin. And yeah, this time we spent months like.
It's hard as well, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah, you
we
just
actually have no idea.
Yeah, we really didn't know. I think we only knew that we wanted to do something different to the last album completely.
Yeah, but no idea what it was.
But no idea what it was and what's going to work for us and stuff. So we just fuck around with loads of different types of songs, don't we? And just see what. Eventually, some of them start to feel like, oh, there's a bit of a thread or whatever. So yeah, it's very hard to explain the process. It's just you just start, and then once you start, you build up a head of steam gradually, and then at some point you look back and you're like, okay, we've got something here. But that process just took us forever this time, because we really did some like digging around. We did a lot of like soul searching musically to try and find something that was interesting to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were so burnt out after the last album.
What did you find? What did you find that reignited that fire or that interest?
Well, that's annoying, isn't it? It's more like sounds like someone like a mouse walking. Yeah. Mouse on stilts. I guess it's just listening to stuff that you like anyway, that inspires you anyway, and then trying to find a way to take that influence and make it and it still feel like your band. So it's quite easy for us to write music that we like, but it's like trying to write music that we like that also feels like the right kind of progression from what we've done before and feels like in the right vibe for the band and stuff. So I mean, we wrote loads of stuff that was cool, but some of it, it's like maybe this isn't the right thing for us. What feels like our new sound kind of thing. So yeah, it's once you've started to get some of them outside influences to work in the band scenario, that's when it starts to get exciting. When it's like, okay, we've got some kind of like fusion of genres that feels exciting.
Because you mentioned something I think very important and interesting as well, where on the one hand you want to progress, like you say, you've always been an adventurous band, but at the same time you don't want to lose your identity. So how do you balance those two things?
Yeah, and what is our identity anyway?
Right.
This is the kind of headache question that we have, is like, you start to question like, what are we actually anyway? Because the band has such a like broad spectrum anyway. Yeah. So yeah.
Did you find an answer to that question?
I think we more just didn't try to answer it and just made an album that we liked.
The stuff we liked.
Yeah. So I think in the end we just have to put that stuff. It kind of always ends up sounding like us anyway, just by the people involved. So, you know, yeah.
Was there a key song that kind of maybe tilted you one way or the other?
No, I think it were like, there were a couple of key moments when like when we wrote Mantra, it were like, we've kind of got that style song now, so now we can focus on like another style. So it were more like moments like that where, rather than like a key song that defined the album, because it's so like varied anyway. Yeah. It were like, we found like, oh, that fits in this kind of sound that we want to do, but now we can go off and do something else. So it like it were like filling gaps, weren't it? With like what we needed. It's
almost like having like a central point of like what the album is going to sound like, and then you're just moving to the side of it all the time. So you've got this kind of, but there isn't actually really one song that defines the album. There's no middle ground. I think it just moves all over the place, but there is a kind of thread, probably mostly just through Ollie and his lyrical content and his voice, I think, is the kind of main thread, which is fine. I think that's a good thing.
But musically then, once you start to venture and then you start to develop these songs and you start to venture in certain directions, is there ever a point where you think, ooh, should we do this? Or how does that kind of negotiation go to kind of see how far you push it? But
it's just more about, it's not whether we can do it, it's more about just whether it works, whether it sounds real, and whether, you know, like, and whether we can get them influences into the song and it still feel like us, because we don't actually just want to do like a, you know, a garage song or something. It has to, you know, we can take things from that genre of music, elements, and integrate them with us, and that's when it gets exciting for us, rather than just like jumping around completely. It's trying to find little gaps in between genres, isn't it? Yeah. Really. So I don't know, I think we generally like, we'll have a go at anything and then we'll see. And a lot of the time it's whether it is enough to trigger Ollie into getting some lyrics. Yeah. You know, if he's like, I've got like a vibe off this one, I'm getting a visual, then it suddenly gets really quick, because obviously like that's what we're looking for. That's what he needs to feel like inspired.
Certain songs just come together faster than others as well. Like Mantra came together in like a day pretty much. Yeah. Medicine as well. That one kind of just around the same time as Mantra. It was so obvious to us like what that song needed and sound like and stuff. So and then some of them were more of a slog.
But for instance, those two songs, sonically they sound very different. So
totally.
Do you have to be in a different mind space, or do you have to? How do you?
Not really, because we listen to so much different. I mean, I listen to different music. Yeah. I could have a playlist with two completely different songs on. They're a different vibe of song anyway. So sometimes like if you write one song for a bit, like maybe like an emotional one, and you're working on that, you kind of then, your head wants to go straight into like doing more of a fun, cocky one, just to mix it up. So I think it often works like that when we're writing, that we'll just bounce between different vibes just because one's an answer to the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned influences, so let me start with you, Jordan. Is there one band or group or artist that you love that you can't stand?
Yeah, there's definitely one. Oh, I don't think you can't stand them, but I love Radiohead, and there's no one else in the band who's like a big fan.
I like what they do and stuff. Yeah, it's just like I've never been. I kind of think you've always got to have been into Radiohead to be super into them, but it's like
you've got one actually.
Yeah, vice versa.
Metallica.
Yeah, but that's more because I grew up with it. Yeah. Like, it's not influence on this CD at all.
No,
right.
But like, I don't really like Metallica. I mean, I respect them and everything. They've got a good career. It's just not my cup of tea or whatever.
Yeah.